This is your pool party captain, Randy Fitzsimmons, and you're listening to the Game Changer Podcast. Pew pew!
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Nate the Great!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Game Changer Podcast. I am your host, NateFNGreat, the paladin of positivity. And with it being a new year, it's only fair that we bring in one of the best old traditions. And that, of course, being the voluptuous, the very dazzling, the intellectual savior of the fashionista madness. That is indeed the one and the only from GAW TV, ladies and gentlemen, the gorgeous SoCal Val.
What an intro. I feel like it gets better and better each time I'm here. Nate, I am so glad to talk to you. It's been far too long, my dear. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. It has actually been a long time. It's almost been, I think, about a year since we last talked. I think the last time I had you on was when we did the Game Changer GAW TV crossover, I think it was.
I think so. And it's funny because, as you know, in COVID, everything sort of runs together, but it feels like it was yesterday. And another way, it feels like it was 2 years ago. So it's been crazy. We have so much to discuss. I am so proud. Can I just say before we start, I'm so proud of you progressing in your illustrious wrestling career. I always told you you're a star, you're a pro, but it's been so fun to see your journey, Nate. I'm just so proud of you. Before we start, I just want to say that.
Well, thank you. I will admit I'm a little bit blushing, but that's also something that a guy shouldn't admit to a beautiful woman. Okay, fair enough. She is a beautiful woman, so I think it's fine. Everything that's going on with the wrestling show has been crazy. It's been spectacular. It's definitely been one of those things where I've really enjoyed the journey that has happened so far. Now the only question is, where does the journey lead me going forward? Well, we'll have that answered hopefully within the next few weeks, ladies and gentlemen. But we're not here to talk entirely about the wrestling career. We're actually here to talk about quite a few things. And honestly, one of the things I definitely want to talk about is, again, the rapid success that GAW TV has had in, just the amount of shows that you guys have produced. Those of you that don't know, GAW TV is a web show that is hosted by SoCal Val, Lisa Marie Varon, a.k.a. Victoria, a.k.a. Tara, and Mickey James. And you look at the list of people that they have had in the past few weeks. My gosh, you had the Queen, Charmel, Scott D'Amore. You also had Elijah Burke, and just so many others, guys. If you haven't gotten a chance, go check out GAW TV. Every single episode is absolutely wonderful and absolutely spectacular. And if you also join their Patreon, you can definitely enjoy the after party that they have going on for that. And it's well worth the watch.
Well, thank you, Nate. You're so good to mention GAW TV. And if you have so many fabulous viewers, but if they're new to GAW TV, GAW stands for Grown Ass Women TV, and it's like Nate so poignantly pointed out. It's myself, Lisa Marie Varon, and Mickey James. It's every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. That's 10 p.m. for those of us in the UK. And as Nate said, we have a lot of great wrestling guests. We've got some really great ones next week. We've got Tori Wilson, a little exclusive there. We've got Tori Wilson on the show next week. We have a lot of people from wrestling. We also have some people from other diverse genres as well, which I really appreciate because, we want to be diverse. We want to have different entertainment genres in there. We've had drag queens. We've had Taylor Dane, who's a pop star. We've had an Atlanta Braves pitcher. We really try to run the gamut and have different interesting guests that we find entertaining and that we hope you'll find entertaining as well. And what we call it is the ultimate slumber party. Nate, you're welcome anytime on GAW TV. It's such fun. Again, every Wednesday at 5 p.m. on YouTube. It's such fun with all of us. Sometimes it is just the three of us just gabbing away, but having a guest is a lot of fun too. And we've had some wonderful, magical guests. And we've been running the show since about May 2020. So it's been a long journey. I think we're on episode 89, which is crazy.
Jeez, you're coming on almost 100 episodes. And as well, you're going to be reaching 2 years this upcoming May. That's honestly a huge accomplishment because there's some places that unfortunately don't even last a year. But hey, 2 years, 3 grown-ass women just whittering, bantering, and drinking. What could go wrong?
Yay! Yeah, we have have so much fun. Again, that's why we call it the Ultimate Slumber Party, because it's basically us in our pajamas, having a glass of wine, unfiltered. It's not one of those, just like your show, Nate. It's a really fun, casual, lighthearted conversation. It's very interactive. We're in the chat room every single week on YouTube to watch the premiere. And it's really nothing stuffy. It's just us unfiltered, giggling away, telling funny road stories. And we hope that people enjoy it. We have so many people that say it's their favorite part of the week. And for us, it's the same for us. We love talking to the fans during the episodes on YouTube. Mickey, Lisa, and I are there every week in the chat room. And, whether it's a guest that we know really well or a guest that we're just getting to know, we treat every interview as, a gab fest. Pour a cocktail, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy.
It is really cool because you did mention before that it is one of those shows that it's not just purely based on wrestling, which, some people might be shocked at, considering we're talking about three women who have made their careers in wrestling that kind of branched out into different genres, whether it be, drag queens, pop culture, whatever you kind of have it. It's kind of one of those things that can also open the minds of so many people that they can realize, hey, they're just like us. And they truly are. Honestly, having conversations with all three of these women, they are just like everybody else. Some are hardcore country, some are just absolutely insane, and then there's some that's just a fashionista, but I digress.
Well said, Nate. And by the way, for those listeners, in case they missed it, you've had some interviews with a few of us on at one time, and those are some of my favorite interviews because it's just, like I said, a gab fest. It's a lot of, camaraderie, a lot of giggles. And to have a few of us on at one time is just, like I said, a virtual slumber party. It's just us unfiltered. We're always polite, but, we tell funny stories. We get a little bit, un-PC. It's hysterical. I hope that people enjoy it. And, we plan to continue this for quite a while. And I think it's evolving into something that's not just wrestling. We have different sponsors as well. We have Drunk Elephant Skincare. We talk about beauty, fashion, wine, supplements. Mickey has, quick plug, she's got her Legacy Sups and her Legacy. And, we really try to share the things we love. It's a personal look at how all of us are. And Nate, you hit the nail on the head. It's an inside look at all three of us. We're very different. Mickey's, an active wrestler. Lisa's retired for now. I'm someone who has, gone into different genres. We have different dynamics, different ages, different locations. My gosh, Lisa's in California. Mickey's in Nashville. I'm in the UK. And it's a really kind of global show. And all of our fans are from all over the world. We thought, honestly, Nate, when we started this, we really believed that most of our fans were going to be about 90% from the U.S., honestly. And I would say our top tier patrons, which thank you for mentioning patreon.com/GAW TV, Nate, where you can support our show. I would say the majority of the top tiers are in Europe or Australia and different places like that. So that's been a real eye-opener for me that, some of these other countries are really enjoying the product, enjoying the brand, enjoying the show, just like whoever's listening right now could be from any other country other than the U.S. where you're recording. I think that's really cool. And living in this day and age where everyone's doing everything virtually, you're reaching so many more people. And with your show, Nate, you're such a pro. I'm sure that people are enjoying it all over the world. Isn't that cool to think about?
It honestly is one of those things that's very amazing to think about when you really take that time to just let it soak in. Like you said, I think that, for you guys, not only having that outreach from wrestling, but also just having that outreach from different genres definitely gives people more of a deal where it's like, well, okay, these are not just three women that are the stereotype, which is, the wrestling girls, so therefore they're going to talk about, only wrestling stuff. It's like, no, this is definitely something that is a lot different. And honestly, it's almost like watching The View when you were a kid and seeing, women just kind of banter on and talk about some of the things, and also having guests every now and then to kind of banter with. It is really like that. And I will to go on a limb and say this is probably the closest you're going to get to a modern day View on YouTube. No double entendre.
Nate, I appreciate that so much because that's kind of what we were saying when we started the show. We wanted it to be almost like a View, but wrestling, but female empowered. And we have a lot of guys on the show as well, and we're all about male empowerment as well. But we really want it to be kind of like a View. There's the talk, there's the View. So that's a really great analogy. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. So I will say this, that you did mention that you get a lot of viewers, which means that you get the ones that are very supportive, and you also get the ones that are just like, why are you watching this? Why are you making these comments like this? Those people, they make the world go around, don't they?
They sure do. We're very lucky that for every 100 or 200 people that are lovely, we might get one, or maybe even more than that. We might get one little bad seed. We've been very lucky, and I think that's a testament to, especially Lisa and Mickey. I've been in wrestling since I was 16 of oh my God, Nate, by the way, it'll be my 20th anniversary, March 30th, 2002, in wrestling. That was my first show in 2002. So 2022, my 20th anniversary. It's crazy. Not that I'm actively still in wrestling. I'm still doing GAW TV, which involves wrestling. So we've all been on this crazy journey, but Mickey and Lisa, way more than me, have found fame and success in wrestling. So I think it's a testament to them how respectful the fans are. But yeah, once in a while you'll have like one little nasty comment or one little, and it's just so funny because they're just so outnumbered by so many wonderful, kind-hearted people that we meet and that we have comments from. And it's like they're just there to disrupt the show. And of course, we love the block button. We love, getting rid of these people. It's our honor and our privilege. But I will say that just once in a while, there is a little bad seed here and there. But we've been very lucky to have mostly really lovely people, really people that wish us well. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people, and I know a lot of the people that have wished you well because they are good people. And that's one of the things that you definitely, really do, is bring a good amount of people that, for once, in a time where social media and everything else has just been very toxic and very horrible. I mean, we can go into like a whole podcast about how horrible social media has been since you started in the business and since I started in business, and you just see how people have been so negative and so just very, I would say, very, very political, unfortunately, which is one of the things I hate in life now. It's that I can't watch, TV without some kind of newscast about something quote unquote bad that's going on, or something that's going on with the pandemic, or now they changed the the virus to something else now. It's like you can't find anything positive in reality. That's why I loved doing these shows, and I also love watching GAW TV because they kind of take you away from the unfortunate reality and negativity from this world and put you in an oasis of something that's very positive filled. So I definitely give you, Lisa, and Mickey so much credit for keeping a positive light in this world of negativity.
Oh, that means the world, Nate. Honestly, you hit the nail on the head, because that's what we say all the time. It's like, if we could have you escape for like a half hour on a Wednesday, or if you're on Patreon, you get the full hour version of our unfiltered show. That's what we're all here for. And I hate the pandemic. Of course, everyone hates Miss Rona. She's a real biatch, and she's ruined all our plans. But at the same time, if this wasn't for a pandemic, I don't know that we would have all had enough time to start this show, this virtual show. And for that reason, a lot of joy, a lot of good things come out of it, a lot of positivity. And that's what we hope for the show, just like your show, Nate. We hope that it's a little escape. You mentioned the word oasis. What a beautiful word. I hope that people can have this little virtual oasis to go, you know what? My life is crazy. The world is a bit scary at times. I've felt it. Everyone's felt it. I'm bored at home. You feel like the world's a kind of a weird, not unfamiliar, but kind of like, you just feel on edge sometimes, everything's kind of like uncertain. And I hope that with GAW TV, everyone could just not think about that for a minute and just have a little laugh. Feel like you're with your girlfriend. Feel like you're with some friends that you can trust and believe in. And that's what we're hoping for the show. And that's really what it's been for us, especially, an escape. And we're hoping that the fans that listen to it and watch it can really just have a little nice reprise. We all deserve that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think what also we deserve is to mention that I'm going to do this little tradition any single time you're on the show, Val, and that's anytime we come up with a new hashtag for the social media deal, everybody can take a drink or they can take a shot for this. I've already came up with two. Hashtag cancel Rona and hashtag Oasis time. So
yes! Okay, so you're telling me I need to pour 2 shots. I hear you loud and clear, Nate. I hear you loud and clear. Maybe next time we need to be on video because I can prove when I'm doing a shot. Oh, you're the best. We love our hashtag. If you guys are listening and you've ever heard an amazing, if I can say so myself, podcast with Nate the Great, and he is great, and we love our hashtags, don't we, Nate?
I feel like every single time that you've come on, there's always like a new hashtag that we have to put out or some new type of just social media deal that we want to have trending in the world. And
yes.
I admire that so much about you. And it's one of those things where, at first I was kind of like, I don't know too much about social media. But now it's just like, you know what? This is who she is. This is how it is. Let's just do it. Let's have fun with it too. So obviously the next time
it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. We make our own hashtags. I have to say, you have some great loyal followers, and as do I. I'm very fortunate to have that. And I have to say, we've had some great feedback on past shows, whether it's been our, crazy holiday theme stuff or, pay-per-view rundowns. I just want to say thank you to people that have been listening, because and I always say Nate's such a pro. But the hashtags are a real part of this show. We got to keep them going. And we welcome anybody that's listening to, make their own hashtags. We can get trending. Why not?
Yes, exactly. It's called fan interaction, and it's called listening to the people, because a lot of times people have some really good ideas. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. I will say this, that one of the things I also do love that, I'm going to say this. I know the next time that we are going to be having you back on the show is with the ladies. I think, in all honesty, that would be the perfect time to celebrate not only 2 years of GAW TV, not only 7 years of us really knowing each other, but also celebrating the 20-year marker that you had with wrestling. I think we need to have it be just this big extravaganza, this GAW-filled extravaganza. I think that is...
Gawganza, another hashtag, Gawganza. Isn't that the craziest thing, Nate? Because, like I said, 20 years. Like I said, my first show was May 30th, 2002. And now my 20th year, which I will be at WrestleMania, a little spoiler alert, I'll be all at the WrestleMania festivities, WrestleCon, all that. And my birthday's right around Mania 2, March 27th. So I feel like I have a lot to celebrate this year. But, Nate, we have to not discredit you. You've been in the business for a very long time now. You're also... transitioning into more not just behind the camera type roles. Your face is out there. You are putting yourself out there in the ring, and it's been very exciting. So if I can interview you for a second, Nate, if we can switch roles, can I just get a little rundown of what you've been doing? Because again, I said I was proud, but I want to know personally how the transition for you was, coming from an announcer, host background like I've been, and then getting into the ring, getting more involved in independent wrestling shows and supporting indie wrestling like you do so well. How's it been for you?
So in all honesty, it's kind of been one of those like up and down slopes for me when it comes to wrestling as well as getting the independent scene. Because when I was about 20, 21, unfortunately, that's when I had my accident where I didn't even think I was going to get a chance to wrestle. But I remember... before I had my accident, I was actually getting trained to actually wrestle during that time, and it seemed like we were actually going to do something about it. But unfortunately, due to the injury, I was not able to compete, and that kind of got set off for a little while. So when I got this call from my friend Wyatt, shout out to him as well as Notebook Entertainment, who are doing absolutely marvelous. He mentioned that there was this guy named Matt who did the wrestling show, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot and see what happens. And after a while, it's one of those things where, just getting in the ring, getting a chance to work with him as well as a lot of the other people, it definitely felt like just another place that I could definitely call home. And one of the things I love about the wrestling show is that we do act as a family with each other, meaning that there are times where we get along. There are, of course, times where we do also, butt heads, like all good families do. But transitioning back again to the wrestling deal has been a little bit of a challenge. Not only for the fact that I'm still not quite at my physical peak yet, which I still think I could do within the next couple of years, but also, just getting the body used to the rhythm of everything that's going on into the ring and outside of the ring. So it's a bit of a transition, but honestly, in 1 year, I accomplished something that I don't think anybody was expecting me to. I was one of the headliners for one of their bigger shows, one of their first actual live shows that they had last year, which I was honestly honored and very, privileged to be a part of that, but also getting a chance to, work in front of a crowd. And that's one of the things where some people might be like, oh, that seems a little bit, nerve-wracking. It seems a little bit nervous. But the thing is that, you can talk from experience as well, is that once you get used to that feeling, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like naturally, you shut off all worries, all nervousness, you just feel like you're at home. And for me, I also had the extra advantage of doing that when I was doing acting too. So when I was on stage, I had that kind of experience of performing in front of a crowd. Now kind of transition that into the wrestling deal. It's like, okay, kind of the same thing, except somebody wants to wallop me and hit me with a steel chair. That's totally fine. It is what it is. Thankfully, I've not gotten any chair shots.
It's like the theatrics are there, but there's also the other little burden that they might be hitting you over the head with something.
Well, well, pretty much at this point.
Actors don't have to deal with that. Yeah, that's why they have stunt people. But in wrestling, we are the stunt people, right? So it's quite a difference.
That is true. That is why you are # the bruised peach of GAW TV.
I'm the bruised peach. You know me.
Oh, we may have mentioned
I should. If I was ever going to be a wrestler, that should have been my moniker for sure. I didn't think about that. Just come out in like peach tones, like a little peach tone dress. You know, I don't know if I've told you on any podcast or even in person, Nate, but I met a girl one time that was a ballet, and she said, "Yeah, they named me Peaches," and I was like, "Well, that's a really bad name. I wouldn't go." That's not the best ballet manager name I've ever heard, but you know, kudos.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if she makes it work, then, you know, spot on her. Good luck with her with that. But it's also one of those things,
I don't think she did.
I mean, we had a wrestler named Cheeseburger, but he turned out better than Peaches, unfortunately. So
he did. He had more sustenance. You know, Rosie Lotta Love, that eventually became Amazon Andrea, very, very good friend of mine. We met Cheeseburger, and we told him that we really wanted to manage him and be the Fry Girls. It never came to fruition. Peaches joke there, but we really wanted to be his Fry Girls and manage him. That's a lost opportunity right there, Nate.
It really is. Honestly, I would have loved to have seen what the Fry Girls would have been like. Would you have been like, you know, like like in red attire, like a McDonald's fry, or would you just been like something out of a Burger King fry, something like that?
I think we would have had red and yellow tones in honor of French fries, and just been like super salty. Get it?
Val,
wow,
super salty.
So weird. Sorry, I'm getting off track here, Nate. Super salty.
I mean, you already set the standard once you gave me the call and just said like, it's like you're coming out deliciously. Wait a minute.
I know. It just flowed so well. I was like, you sound delicious, and I was like, that got weird. Sorry. It always goes back to food talk on our podcast, I think.
Oh my gosh! Honestly, it's one of those things where I could honestly see. And God bless your husband. If it was been a situation where he came in at the wrong time and just heard you say that, be like, wait, who's delicious now? Just
what the hell kind of show were you doing there?
It's like, what are you doing?
You know what, Nate, when I was in Germany doing my first shows, the only word they really taught me how to say, I was trying to know how to say like thank you and dankeschön and, you know, whatever, and hello and goodbye. And then they taught me how to say, lecker, this dessert that I liked. And I just kept saying that to fans, and I was calling them all delicious, like, yummy. And I was like, I'm probably making everyone really uncomfortable because I'm like saying yummy to all these strange men that I've never met before. And I'm like, Jesus, I need to like stop calling them all yummy. I'm like the town, I don't even know what. It's not a good look. Needless to say, I was very popular in Germany, Nate. Everyone was delicious to me, yummy. I called everyone yummy, and I was very over.
Oh my gosh. I mean, well, now we got hashtag yummy going on, so everybody take a drink.
Yummy.
Yummy Germany. How about that?
Yeah. Yummy.
Yummy. Oh my gosh. Gosh. Now I'm just imagining how it's going to be like with you, Lisa, and Mickey. How many hashtags are going to be going through, and how many people are going to get sloshed by the end of the show?
You're going to lose count. They are, you know, once we all get together, I think separately we're all really like, we're big talkers, we're very chatty, we're very sassy, we're very like loquacious. That's a big word for the night. Google that, everybody. But I think together it's just a whirlwind. Like when we were in Miami together, that was the last time we were all together, and we hadn't been together like that, the three of us, in like 2 or 3 years, and it was just. Now we got some work done while we were there. We shot photos for GAW. We signed photos, like 8x10 photos. We physically signed them, autographed them for the fans. We filmed 2 episodes of GAW. We did what we needed to do. But it was only 2 days of that, really. And the rest of it was just giggling, just absolute giggling, talking a mile a minute. It was hysterical.
It's like a bunch of schoolgirls that are just literally by their lockers, just giggling about, you know, hot guys, or just about the biggest.
Did you hear about so-and-so under the bleachers? Oh, that's totally us, yeah. Can't help it. It can't be helped, honestly. Like, there's no stopping us. And God bless anybody that tries to get a word in edgewise. Like, it's not happening.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I can attest to that. I've had proof of that for at least 2 or 3 shows that I've had you guys on. But the one person, I'm going to tell you this. This is a story I think I definitely will need to do that. I'm not saying this as like a rib or as like a dig on anybody, but Lisa is the one person that I think I worry about probably the most when it comes to the shows, just because of the fact that she is definitely the most talkative and also probably the most open as far as comedy goes. And my case in point to that is the last show that we did. I'm doing like the endings of the, saying, thank you for this and blah, blah, blah. And we had the Zoom call up. and I have it as just the audio for the time being. But hopefully next time around we will have the videos on, because here's the reason why. Because literally, as I'm doing the outro, the video goes over to Lisa. I just see a blip, and I just see her face covered in like tape or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, what just happened?
literally. And her humor, we love her. Her humor is so random. Like, for example, we're doing her 51 birthday party, and we're like, what should we do? And we're doing what we're calling a Happy Birthday Lisa 50 onesie, because she wore a onesie on the original, like the first ever premiere episode of GAW. But the thing is, like, Nate, between you and I, exclusive here, nobody told her to wear a onesie. She just showed up as a damn dinosaur for no reason. Jurassic Park was open. She just decided, we said, okay, slumber party pajamas. I'm in a kimono, a lovely kimono. Mickey's in cute, kind of sporty pajamas as she wears. And Lisa was a dinosaur. Didn't tell us. She just showed up.
And it's also one of the reasons why we love Lisa. So, Lisa, shout out to you, but you're also the reason why we're hopefully going to be doing a video recording, so that way people can see the madness that everybody has to work with. But
she's the best. There's no one like Lisa. This is the thing, is, her kind of camaraderie, her humor, her randomness is like, you cannot replicate that. And she's so self-deprecating. She's always making fun of herself. And she's just so genuine. There's no one more original than Lisa. And that's one thing that, like, if for some reason we ever had to, like, switch GAW up or something, she's irreplaceable. She's just somebody who is so herself, unapologetically, and that's what we love about her. Just like you, Nate. She's got her own personality. She's good at what she does, but she's just herself. And that you cannot teach somebody to be like that. That's Lisa, and that's all she knows, and it's brilliant.
Now you're just tempting me to do like a deal where when I introduce Lisa, I'll just be like, and this right here is Lisa Marie, and she is a one-of-a-kind star, and you can't teach that. Exactly. If we ever do a video one, I'm telling you, she'll probably want to wear a onesie, or at least PJs. We might at least do like a pajama party. We'll see. We'll search. I do remember a lot of the older and earlier on episodes where she did usually have like some very out there outfits. The one I think that kind of stood out was when I think she had like toilet paper coming out of her butt. I think it was.
Yes!
Oh my god.
She did. And I think I told you this story that one time I always say to Alan, like my husband, I'm like, if you never met her, here's an example. The first time we met her, I was like, okay, so we're doing a Fight TV thing where me and Damian Nelson are like, we're supposed to be on these high stools, almost like an ESPN style thing, because Nate, as a host, sometimes it's casual, sometimes it's more formal, and you're really supposed to be running down a card and whatever. And we're standing there, so, okay, Lisa, come in for an interview. She goes, okay. And she comes into the set, and I swear to goodness, Nate, she purposely falls, takes a bump into the set with toilet paper hanging out. And we're like, and I know Lisa, so I know that she meant to do it. But then the other host and the other producers were like, oh, God, is she okay? And I'm like, yeah, she's okay. She just wanted everyone to freak out, and it totally worked. Popped everybody. It was the funniest thing ever. And no one asked her to do this. It's just Lisa's humor to get everyone, at ease and just lighthearted. It was just so funny and so Lisa. We love her so much.
Absolutely. I will say this, and this is probably one of those things where she's probably going to be giving me a hard time about this. I did have the opportunity to sign up for one of those virtual meet and greets that they had for that, because I think she had one earlier on today. Unfortunately, I just ran out of time and I didn't have the chance to actually do it, unfortunately. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel bad that I didn't get a chance to see her, and it would have been cool to be like, hey, how you doing, that kind of deal. But then I realized I'm probably going to see her in a couple months anyway. So in all honesty, I think I can hold out for just a little while longer. And I think there's only so much madness of Lisa that I can understand, that I can handle for the time being. But
she's the best, yeah.
She
I hope
really
you do see her soon. She's so much fun. And, I was just so thrilled that I got to spend some time with her, not only in Miami with Mickey James, but we also went to Fayetteville, courtesy of our friend Chris Bradley from Knuckle Up Appearances. We were also with Melina. And we had a lovely girls' weekend, in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It was just so much fun. So I had a ball just seeing her in person because, we Zoom, we box every single day. All of us do, all three of us. And it's just, but it was a totally other thing to be in person with her, have a slumber party, have some wine in our room, talk about life, get girly, just like we do on GAW. But in person, it's a much different experience. I really needed that girl time. So, she's very, very sweet. She's a really good friend of mine in real life. Some people in wrestling, you love them, they're your wrestling friends, but you don't really have much outside of it. But she's somebody who, if I was going through something, I would immediately pick up the phone and talk to her. That's how close we are. Mickey, too.
Oh, man. So definitely lots of love for Lisa. And let's actually talk about Mickey, because she's going to be part of that whole Forbidden Door deal, because she's going to be in the Royal Rumble actually next week as the Impact World Champion, because, well, I mean, she deserves it after everything that she's done. And one of those things, I will say this, that I was kind of shocked to see that she would even be a part of that after her exit from WWE kind of went, which was no fault of her own whatsoever. But the way that, it was all handled, I was literally just like, wow, this literally shows Mickey is not only one of the most professional people that I've ever seen, but she is definitely somebody who takes the high ground and literally is one of the best females that I have seen. That was one of those things where I saw that I was like, wow, she really is the bigger person when it comes to this. I mean, a company with like billions of dollars, as well as so many employees there, just got ousted by a mom. Well, okay, to be fair, that probably has happened more than once, but
it's very well said. And I appreciate that, Nate. Just ask your friend, because I thought the same thing, and I thought, not only does it just, it's very progressive by WWE, and that's what I was so thrilled about, but it just shows you how respected Mickey is as a performer, as a superstar. She's so well respected that, I think they knew that they sort of didn't handle things properly. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to call people out. I'm so glad that it was called out. And I think that they went, oh my gosh, we need to, tie up some loose ends here and just sort of, reevaluate how we're treating our superstars that have, been, loyal employees for so many years. So I was so thrilled, so thrilled to see her back in the Rumble, see her back, have a little time in WWE and just kind of, not that it was a truce, it's not my place to say it was a truce, but as a fan, I kind of look at it and go, wow, it's really nice and respectful. They're kind of doing this nice thing. But especially, my goodness, how progressive and woke is it that they announced her as the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Champion? Nate, I have never in my damn life ever thought they would say those words on WWE television. It was epic. It was progressive. It was woke. It was the right thing to do. And this whole Forbidden Door thing, I have been waiting for this damn thing to be kicked open. And let me tell you, my girl Mickie James saw that door. She didn't knock on it. She didn't try to push it in. She kicked it in with her beautiful cowboy boots, her sassy cowboy boots, and she said, I'm here. I'm proud of other companies I've worked for. I am a well-rounded, I'm going to cry. I'm a well-rounded performer, and she's speaking for all of us that have ever felt, myself included, that when we've gone to, say, WWE, and they kind of tried to diminish Impact Wrestling or all of the things you tried to do to make a name for yourself, she is doing it for all of us, especially us women. And I could not be prouder of my friend. And I am so proud of her as a friend. I'm proud of her as a fan. And it is just the best time to be a wrestling fan. And we have so much to thank for Mickey. We can thank Mickie James. We can thank people like Gail Kim, people that have in the business, especially women, that have kicked that door down and have always just championed women. Doesn't matter where they're from. Doesn't matter who they are. If they're hardworking women that are there for the right reasons, trying to make it professional wrestling, they are championing these women. I think it's so cool. I'm just so, honestly, I could cry because it means so much to me. Being a little girl in wrestling, being 13 years old, well, let's face it, like 11 is when I started watching, and just hoping to be one of these superstar women. And I never thought we would get to this point where the federation didn't matter. How beautiful was that? I'm so thrilled, honestly.
It is one of those
things. I get emotional, Nate. Sorry.
Trust me, there's a computer between us. I'd be giving you a hug right now if I was able to.
Oh, thanks, my dear.
And I will say this, that when it comes to Mickey, she definitely has really transcended from somebody that I'm sure that, when she first started out, she's thinking, I'm going to do some good career highlights. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I don't think she would have imagined that she would make quite the impact, major pun intended, that she has made on wrestling like she has. I mean, the amount of effort that she put in to her work in WWE, all the stuff that she did in TNA, because a lot of us refuse to call it anything else other than that, because respectively so, we knew what it was. And now also the stuff that she's doing with NWA. She has definitely became one of those women that if there was a female Mount Rushmore, she's definitely going to be at least in that conversation, because she literally has not only, transcended her wrestling accomplishments, but she has gone her way to help the next generation grow. She's definitely setting an example for that generation to be like, you could, wallow in self-pity when life gets you down, or you can kick that door open, like you said, and just seize the day and seize the opportunity every chance you get. And Mickey has done that. So in agreement with that, and also, like you said, having that Impact Knockouts title, mentioned even on WWE TV when it's been held by so many people, like we mentioned before. Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, Taylor Wilde, you name, the list goes on and on and on of all the great Knockouts champions that have held on to that championship. And it just goes to show that, Impact TNA has definitely gotten a lot further than what they were expecting to be. There was even a point where people were saying like TNA was going to die, and they didn't. They came back. They came back.
We heard that like every week when I was there. It's so funny how well they've done. I'm so proud of them doing very well now. I've been watching the product even closer now, and talking with Scott D'Amore recently on GAW TV. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Plug. We had a great conversation just outside of the show about how proud I am of how well Impact Wrestling is doing and how progressive they've been. So it's really gratifying to see that the company that I dedicated 9 years of my life to and still have so much love for is doing so well and giving so many up and coming wrestlers the opportunities that they gave me. Isn't that great?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where you came in as a ringside girl, and then you became a valet, and then you also shined outside of TNA, which I believe that's another pun that was unintentionally intended, but at the same time,
I heard it.
So basically, we're not giving our praises to TNA at this point, but
a little bit, just a little bit.
I mean, it is total nonstop action. Anyway, we could go on years and years talking about TNA and how awesome it is compared to other promotions. But yeah, just again, it all comes full circle with everything that we've been talking about, how women empowerment is indeed important in this time of age. And seeing how, so many women are going out there and they are literally breaking down the barrier. They're not, just waiting for that brass ring to just come down. They're taking that brass ring. They're not waiting.
They're waiting for nobody.
No.
Well said. Yeah.
They are looking to break the glass ceiling into a million pieces, and they will say, we will make it even tougher for somebody else to get through it. And honestly, they do a really damn good job of it. I mean, you look at the list of people. We can mention Gail Kim, Lisa Marie. We can mention Mickie James. They've been doing that since day one that they started working, and they will continue to do that. There are other women that will need to, try to even match that, which will be near to impossible. But the ones that do break that glass ceiling, hopefully they will have that same appreciation that women that have come before them have had, that they finally broke that glass ceiling, and now they're going to do the same thing. They're going to rebuild it and be like, hey, now it's your time to step up.
Yeah. And in a cool way, it's kind of only the beginning, like people, it's funny because when I started in wrestling, we talked to people who paved the way, like Miss Elizabeth, Sherry, Missy Hyatt, Sunny, and they did pave the way. And then now it's weird I would never put myself in this category by any goddamn means. But Mickie James and Lisa, Melina, Gail, Christy, these are the women that are my friends, but they're the ones paving the way. And we just talked to Tori Wilson. For me, honestly, if you've never watched GAW TV, it's a great one to watch in the sense that I really fangirled over Tori and told her how much her impact meant to me because, I never wanted to be a Lita. I told her that. I said those exact words in the show. I wanted to be a Tori. I wanted to be the pinup, the sex symbol, the manager, and then eventually, obviously, more of the announcer type too. But, everyone has their favorites. And these women that are now, I call them friends, the weirdest thing on earth. They're the ones that are paving the way for this new generation. And I have to say, we said this on the show too. Honestly, it really is a great episode. We were saying that I think all the girls now are really appreciative of that. Like, we meet a lot of younger girls in the business now, which makes me feel old, but they're like, we really appreciate you. They're very polite. They're very grateful. And I don't know that it was ever like that when I was in the business. I think the girls have gotten a lot more appreciative. I think that the manners are getting better, which is shocking to say, but I think it's really... these girls are breeding a whole new generation of girls that are very, very grateful, and they're very hungry, and they're very ambitious, and they're fearless. And they know that, like you said, they're not. Their MO is not to wait around for an opportunity. They are prepared to kick that door down because people like Mickie, Gail, Lisa have done it before. And isn't that awesome?
It is absolutely awesome to see that because, obviously, we look at back in the day, there were people that said that all women are only going to make it this far. And women that we've mentioned before have obviously transcended that. They've said that, hey, not only can women be managers, but we can also be pretty kick-ass wrestlers. We can main event shows. We can main event stuff. We can sell out arenas. And they do. They absolutely do. I definitely do want to say this, that I remember actually being in New York for WrestleMania 35, and I think I remember actually watching the Hall of Fame where Tori Wilson was actually inducted, and it's one of those things where this will be an episode that I will definitely be paying close attention to, because I loved her speech that she gave, where she definitely was trying her best to literally, knock down doors and prove that, again, not only can women be beautiful, but they can also be tough. And Tori Wilson, for the longest time, was indeed one of the most beautiful, but one of the toughest women in WWE. Yes. She was literally going out there every single time. And so many people might say, well, she kept fighting off Dawn Marie. Yeah, but at least she was still trying to do something, where people were saying, like, oh, we don't really have anything for you. She said, let me have this match. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me just, have these kind of matches and let me show that we can actually do it. And
yes. Honestly, you'd love it. You'd love it, Nate, because she really talks about how, she kind of doubted herself. And it's funny because she's my personal Jesus. Her and Stephanie McMahon are two of my favorites, where I was like, I just think those kind of women are untouchable and that they should never doubt themselves. And she talks about how she was, thinking of how some storylines were perceived and is she being taken seriously, and she doubted herself and was embarrassed about things. And I had to, you'll see in the episode, I had to stop her and go, Tori, I wanted to cry. It's like, if you didn't do those storylines, if you weren't, your type of girly, feminine, not so serious wrestler, I would have never had interest in wrestling. I didn't want to be a China or a serious wrestler. And that's just my preference. I have all the respect in the world for serious wrestlers, but I did not want to be that. I wanted to be, the Tories and the Stephanies. So I was just like, I hope you know, and I said it even at the end, I'm like, I hope you know that you made a huge impact on me. And I hope that anything you take away from this episode, and it's funny because I never would I said, if you take anything away from this episode, please know that you made an impact on me. And I said to her later, I was like, I've met you so many times, and she's really good friends with Lisa, who's one of my best friends, but I've never talked to her much because I just don't know what to say. I'm like fangirling and I'm freaking out. My husband's had more conversation with her than I have, and I'm just like, I don't know what to say. Like, if you're an actress, I said, if you're an actress, what do you say to Meryl Streep? If you're a model, what do you say to Kate Moss? I don't know. You just go, oh, how are you? And you just kind of skulk in the background and just stare at her and go, she's so pretty. Like, I'm a weird fangirl. I don't know what to do, but I just wanted her to know that she meant, her career and her hard work and her photo shoots and all of her fitness modeling, it meant a lot to me, and it still does. And I just think, I hope to goodness that at least I gave her 2% of a confidence boost and 2% of appreciation, that I did my job, because I'm telling you, I had this girl's posters on my wall, and Lisa called me out in the beginning of the episode, she did, Nate, and said, yeah, Val had posters on it. I was like, oh my Jesus Christ, I'm like a teenage boy. I had her, literally, they were on my wall. I can tell you which one it was. It was like a fishnet suit she had on the beach, looking perfect as she always does, and I thought, I want to be that, I'm not ashamed. I own it, dear. I own it.
Hey, you're owning up to it, and that's what matters in the end. And it is kind of awesome that, even some people could say you can reach a certain part of superstardom, but can still be awestruck by so many things. I mean, every single day that, we talk, any single day that we do these kind of shows, it's always kind of one of those things where, looking at it, thinking just talking to another friend about this kind of deal. But in the back of my head, I'm just kind of like, I'm talking to SoCal Val, somebody who I've watched on TV, kind of grow in the business, and somebody I was not expecting.
Oh, thank you for that. See, I can't even fathom that. I thank you for that, but it doesn't. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I can't fathom.
There's just still that. There's just still that kind of fan. Well, now for me, it's fanboying kind of deal, where you're just like, man, it's still really cool to get the chance to talk to somebody. And literally anytime that we hang out, so many people are going to be like, how do you know SoCal Val? It's like, well, we just talk.
But you know what, I think they, not to interrupt you, but I think that makes people human. Like, if I was like, oh, Tori's on the show, I'm going to fangirl because that's in my heart. I'm fangirling, and I want people to know that I'm, we're all fans. That's why we join wrestling. And I think it makes, even if you're supposed to be I'm usually kind of the more anchor host of the show, GAW TV, but I'm going to flip out because that's what I love. And we might have other guests on the show that I think are lovely, but I might not fangirl because it didn't have this resonating thing with me. But Tori Wilson, dude, I died. You'll see. Actually, at the end, when we stopped filming, I almost kept it into the show, but I didn't. It was a bit embarrassing. As soon as she left, I was like, thank you so much. And we ended the chat. I, fell over. And the girls were laughing. My legs went over my head, and I was like, you guys, I can't. And they were laughing at me because it was so funny. I was just like, I don't even know who I was. I don't know what I said. It's like when I met Trish Stratus, or when I met Sasha Velour, who's my personal Jesus favorite drag queen. I know I talked to her, but I sort of blanked out because I'm so in awe. I don't even know what the hell I said. I wasn't there. It was an out of body experience.
I think that there's always been a lot of those kind of moments that happen too. I think honestly, when we first started talking, was I expecting us to be able to have these kind of conversations? Not really. And did I even think that did I think that even I had the chance to interview and talk to people that I watched growing up, like Mickie James, like Melina and Lisa Marie? I thought, hell no, there's no way this is ever going to happen. But then literally I'm just like, well, she does have these close connections. Maybe there's a chance that I can just say, hey, Val, you're friends with these people. Maybe they'd like to be on the show. It's like, well, let me ask. And they were just like... I
think it helps, too, that since you and I are buddies, I think it helps when someone goes like, oh, this is going to be a good interview. Even if they don't know you from Adam, I can say, this is not somebody who's going to try to get clickbait. This is not somebody who's going to try to get into, weird... personal storylines. It's just literally a great wrestling chat. Wrestling fans are going to love it, but there's also a fun personal side. And that is the mark, and to your credit, Nate, that's the mark of a great interviewer, that no one has to be uncomfortable. It's a great, entertaining show, but it's not like, hey, tell us, a horrible story and talk crap on someone, or let's try to shoot. Nobody likes that kind of stuff. Nobody wants to feel pressured to talk badly about people or talk about uncomfortable situations. And, I've been in some of those, Lisa and Mickie especially, I've been in a lot. And it's a horrible feeling when you do an interview and you get off the phone or get off the computer and you go, they weren't really interested in talking to me. They were just interested in some kind of weird clickbait, salacious headline. And it's not a nice feeling. And with you especially, it's somebody that I can say, hey, you will have a great time and it's fun and it's all with good intentions,
And usually I'll just, watch the chaos and so, because most of the time I'll probably be in a corner just listening to all the women talk, but
that too.
Oh my gosh. I love those shows, even though people probably be like, well, how come you didn't get a chance to ask, you didn't ask about, how come you didn't ask these questions and stuff? It's like, I feel like those questions would have been answered eventually. I'm just letting these women talk because in all honesty, having, Lisa and Melina literally talk to each other, and even having the chance to even mention those Wikipedia facts that I told during the introductions, to where they're like, wait, yeah. I didn't know that you knew this. It's like, well, I just went on Wikipedia and I thought about it. I'm thinking, you know what? Let's not focus on the wrestling part. Let's talk about this fact that you were literally you had this accomplishment. It's like, well, okay.
Exactly. And that's the kind of stuff that no one asks. Every interview goes the same way. It's like, how did you get started in wrestling? What do you think? And it's like, okay, if you've heard one of my interviews, other than these, of course, because you're different, but if you've heard one of my interviews, especially podcasts, you've heard them all. Other than you and GAW, honestly, a lot of them are very, I'm not trying to discredit I've had fun on other interviews, of course, but a lot of them are very monotonous, and it's just not very personal. It's very robotic, and that's what we really didn't want for GAW TV. We've done these interviews so many times. If you watch GAW TV, you found out so much about us, like our families. Lisa was telling stories not long ago about how she was in a medical field where she was extracting eyeballs. It's the weirdest thing, but it's like, but I never knew that about Lisa. I had known her for years. I didn't know that side of her. Mickie tells us things about her life and her past. She talked to one time, in the Awesome Clown interview. They both had a lovely moment where and I don't know if it's the 30-minute version on YouTube or the Patreon version, the hour-long unedited version. They talked about how they both, as children, had their childhood homes burned down. I never knew that. And they bonded over how, it affected their families, it affected their psyche. And that's, we don't get too heavy on the show. We try not to, but sometimes it gets a little bit deep. And that's the human side of these girls. And I always say on interviews, it is a slumber party. But it's also a way for the fans to get to know, especially Lisa and Mickie, because they're these larger-than-life wrestling characters, but it's them getting to know the real people. You know, Mickey's a mom. You know, she talks about that. We meet her son on the show many times. It's things like that humanize these gals, and I think that's so cool because I know them as the wonderful human beings that they are, but the fans have not seen that side unless they watch GAW TV, unless they're with us every week. And I think it's really kind of been a cool thing for fans to see a different side of them.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, honestly, now, after knowing you for almost about 7 years at this point, I could have asked so many questions about, you know, these road stories or stuff about wrestling, but it's now kind of to a point where it's like, I want to talk about something different when it comes to Val. I mean, this is probably one of the first episodes where we talked about, you know, women empowerment and how awesome Lisa and Mickey are, which I think that they're going to appreciate the cheap plug on the show. But, you know, it's one of those things where, like you said, you know, some people just want to hear only that wrestling side, where here it's just like, I'd much rather have people have more of a comfortable space where they can just unwind, they can talk about whatever they feel like they would like. And to be honest, every single time that we chat, it's always something where we can just talk about, you know, shooting the breeze and just talking about fun stuff like that. I mean, people could be like, well, aren't you going to ask her personal questions? I already know the personal questions I know. And that is, she was somebody in wrestling, she's happily married, and she bruises like a peach. That's all I needed to know in life.
Those are the basic facts. And that's what's on my driver's license, like info. Name, date of birth, all that. Bruises like a peach. Mm-hmm. My birth certificate.
I was going to say, instead of donor, does it just say bruises like a peach instead? Just like one label right there.
Totally.
Oh my!
I love that. But that, you know, it's funny. It's a personal fact, but we've joked about that before. But I think these kind of interviews are that's why I have so much fun. I hope you know that I look so forward to them because it's not this rigid, like, all right, you know, it's just such a fun conversation, and that's the kind of thing that I like listening to. That's the kind of stuff that I like watching, say on YouTube. Whether it's my Drag Race, my Housewives, it's the humanization of people that I find fascinating. It's wonderful these people are larger than life characters. But like even this is a weird analogy, but like even like Paris in Love, Paris Hilton has a show out, and it's all about her psyche and what happened to her as a child. She's going through therapy. She's describing her, you know, likes and dislikes, her fears, all this stuff, and it makes her human. And it's interesting to get to know the Paris Hilton behind all this crazy. You know, she's almost like a wrestling persona if you think about it. It's very similar to my wrestling persona, but it's funny. It's great to see the softer side of her. So I think it's cool that we're doing this, and I always appreciate that you are always in tune with people's. Even when, you know, Melina and Lisa, we were talking a mile a minute. You know, you always get the great questions that really kind of give people an insight into who we are. So we really appreciate that.
Absolutely, and in all honesty, I was not expecting at all to have, you know, Melina be one of my favorite people to talk to of all time, and how just genuinely sweet she is. She literally can. I think that literally she bleeds gold because she has a heart of gold. I'm honest to God. She literally could just, you know, her tears are literally just little hearts that are coming out of it. That's how much love I think from Melina. She's absolutely the sweetest person that I have probably ever met and ever talked to.
She is.
And just, oh gosh, and any chance to get the chance to hang out with her or get a chance to talk with her, I'm always going to take advantage of that. And
yeah, she's a doll, isn't she? Honestly, and it's funny because you see that in interviews, but then when you actually get to know her, it's like, oh my God, she's actually that nice. She's that sweet and that kind-hearted and sensitive of a person. She's a wonderful, wonderful girl. Love her.
Absolutely.
She's true blue. That's right. She's a true blue buddy.
A true blue. Oh man, hashtag true blue Melina. How about that?
You're a true blue buddy too, Nate.
Oh man, I thought it was a gam. I thought it was a grown ass man.
All right, let's change it. True blue gam.
True blue.
Now trending on Twitter. Everyone, don't worry. You're only trending. True blue gam. That's a T-shirt, I think.
It is going to be a T-shirt. I mean, geez Louise. I might just have to talk to some people about this. I know that, you know, I will mention this because for a while I was a part of a group called Wrestle Addict Radio, and then I was off of Wrestle Addict Radio, and now I kind of miss working on that. So there's a chance I might be going back to that. You're kind of the first one that I'm kind of letting go, and this is kind of exclusive for everybody else to listen to. So you might hear me coming back for Wrestle Addict Radio. I just have to work out some details on that, so I can't confirm anything, but it's kind of one of those things that we're in talks.
I love this little teaser dropping. It's like, hey, by the way, this is a little exclusive nugget. I love it.
Well,
you're honoring us with this exclusive. We won't tell anyone. Only us and all the listeners.
Like always. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But between us, Nate, you and I, and our listeners.
Oh my God!
Don't tell anyone.
Just another fun-filled show with SoCal Val. I mean,
yeah, mum's the word, except for where we happen to be on a podcast. Oops.
it's like one of those things where you have the parent that doesn't swear, and whenever they say that one swear word, they just kind of cover themselves like, "Oh, what am I saying?"
Yeah, oopsie, oops. I'm imagining that emoji that's the monkey and he's covering his mouth, like, oopsie. Shouldn't have said that.
I know exactly what you're talking about, too.
Yeah, you would see it, right?
Oh my gosh. I feel like if I can get the emoji in on the title for our episode, I'm going to put that emoji in.
Do it.
The people will be like, what? A monkey emoji? What? I've got to listen to this now, and we'll find out.
And then they'll listen and they'll understand exactly what that means.
55 minutes after the show has started, yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we're just going to be a chaotic duo doing this same song and dance for like.
I think so. Don't you? I mean, you host so well, but don't you feel like with me, I'm like, I just need bullet points. I don't ever need like a script. I feel like that's so, it's so 90s. We don't need. It's just fun to talk and let it flow and just have it be fun and nonchalant. That's always how we do it, right?
One of these times we should just jokingly do like a robotic scripted introduction.
Just like, hello. You are joined by SoCal Val and NateFNGreat, and welcome to The Game Changer. Today's topic is, like, that. People would hate that.
But, I mean, for those that listen, would be like, oh, this is the time that they're doing that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it might even be funnier. Talk to your hubby about possibly doing it, because I think it would be funnier if he did the robotic deal. I think that would be amazing.
You know what it is? I think because he has because he has a British accent, and so many like robotic things in America especially have British accents, like elevators and whatever, like it would work perfectly. I'll get his rate for you, Nate. He's very expensive. He always says when he does the armbar for GAW, he's like, where's my payment? I'm like, I don't know. Your payment is you give me free cocktails. That's your payment, is to get me a little bit buzzed before the show. The end. That's it. It's real simple, bro.
Your payment is that I get to continue to love you unspeakably, and you don't sleep on the couch.
I think in that way he's overpaid. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, Al, we love you, man. You are absolutely just a gem and treasure. Come on. Oh my gosh.
The dream is one day to have Nate and Alan's armbar. You could always come be a special guest one day.
Oh my gosh. The day that happens, that's going to be an interesting episode. He just comes in, he's just doing his deal, and I just come in out of nowhere. Just take a sip. Damn. Yeah. and
they're strong, Nate. I'll warn you, they're pretty strong.
Well, I mean, I'm a strong boy. You know that. I'm a true blood man.
You can handle it. You can handle it.
Well, unfortunately, Val, it's that time where it's going
to be. Oh, gosh darn it.
I know. We talk about so much.
Do you agree that it always creeps up? I just looked at the clock and I'm like, my God, it just creeps up on me that I'm like, really?
Yeah, it's literally one of those things where I feel like, it starts off like sort of slow, but then when we get onto a conversation roll, it's just like, what? That felt like 5 minutes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Why?
It's crazy.
What? It's like, why do we torture ourselves with these things when we come to the end of it? Just why? Oh, because
I don't know.
Because we have
We're masochists, Nate. That's a heavy word for this show, but I just said it, so we're here. Hello.
Well, Val's got a dictionary. Hashtag Val Dictionary.
Val got a brand new dictionary.
The California Dictionary, coming soon.
Yes.
So, as tradition, part of the show, Val, love for you to plug everything that you got as far as GAW TV goes, as far as your personal stuff. By all means, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, Gorge. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me, Nate. You were a pro and a star. You know that I love you and I'm so proud of you. Thank you for having me again. It's always such a pleasure. But I will say that, GAW TV, Grown Ass Women TV, is every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. That's 10 p.m. for us in the UK, meaning myself. We also have a lot to look forward to as far as guests. We have Tori Wilson coming up next week. We have a lot more fabulous wrestling guests and guests from different genres, which is always fun. I will be at a little exclusive here, Nate. I haven't dropped this info yet. I will be at WrestleCon this year for WrestleMania. I'm doing WrestleCon. We're hoping to do a live WrestleMania event and some GAW TV filming in the Arlington, Dallas area during WrestleMania weekend. And if you're in the Milton Keynes area for the Royal Rumble, I'll be here hosting an event. But all of the info you can find on my social medias at SoCal Valerie on Twitter, at official SoCal Val on Instagram, and of course, all the info you need is on GAWTV.com to watch our show and support me, Mickey James, and Lisa Marie Barron. And of course, we are friends of Nate, so you should be friends of ours. I'll say it like that.
Now that's a T-shirt right there. It's like this guy's
so. Or at least a coaster. At least a coaster, Nate.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Nate the Effing Great from the Game Changer Podcast. You can check me out on social media on Instagram as well as on the Twitter at Real Effing Game. You can also check us out on so many different podcasting formats, including iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're basically on it at this point. Val has mentioned, of course, before, mentioned the fact that I'm going to be a part of wrestling, so definitely check out the wrestling show, which is on the YouTube stream, so definitely check that out, ladies and gentlemen, and be sure to check out the merchandise that we have here, and be sure to check out some of the other stuff, because honestly, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening in 2022, I can definitely tell you that right now, including, like I said, we haven't really set this in stone yet, definitely planning on another GAW TV invasion, or takeover, whatever we want to
Yay!
within the next few months, so you'll definitely get the chance to listen in on all of our antics, and I may try to get this also on video too, because I think it'd be a nice little change of pace, and also B, I can keep an eye on Lisa and all her antics, so that way it's not just a surprise.
We might make her shotmaster. Nate, you know how she likes to be shotmaster on golf, so be careful what you wish for, don't say.
And with that, we end with hashtag shotmaster Lisa at this point. So, Val, thank you again for joining me here on the show. It's always a pleasure. It's always an honor to have you on, and you're always one of the best guests that I've always had on, and one of the first guests that I've had here. Let's definitely make 2022 a can't-miss year. And honestly, looking forward to when we can celebrate the 20 years of California.
Yes, thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Nate, you're a star. Love you so much.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. See you later.